This one video will change you and your reactive dog's life. I'm Jamie the dog trainer. Today we're working with Maggie, who's a 3.5-year-old staffy, and she's struggling with her reactivity. Step 1, when you're out on a walk, you have to manage your dog's stress levels. Imagine you have a cup, and how full it is representative of your dog's stress levels. That cup has a tiny hole in the bottom. If you keep filling up that cup with triggers that your dog finds stressful, eventually it will overflow and you'll reach your dog's threshold and your dog will become reactive. However, you let your dog get comfortable with your environment and you let that cup slowly drain out so the cup is fully empty, then they see a dog, your dog's going to be able to tolerate that and we're not going to overflow that cup of water. So before you even have your reactive dog around other dogs, please make sure that they're nice and settled by doing a bit of training or let them have a bit of a sniff in a quiet area. Step 2 is we have to teach your dog eye contact. Eye contact is a pivotal exercise to teach your dog if they're having trouble with reactivity. In fact, I'd recommend it for any type of training. It's actually very simple to teach. All we do is ask for eye contact by calling the dog's name. Once she responds, we mark with our marker word. I use the word yes, then we reward. Maggie, yes. We can also reward her for what's called a check-in. Yes, a check-in is basically where she voluntarily looks at me. Yes, and you can see she's doing this fairly well. Yes, good girl. We want to repeat this a good 20 or 30 times in a heap of different environments so our dog gets really good at it. You can see Maggie has already picked this up fairly well. She's engaging with me and we've got a nice engaged dog. Yes. It's also important to make sure that your marker is a separate event to the treat delivery. Yes, then wait half a second, then treat. Yes, good girl. Come. Good job, Zach George. There you go, buddy. Step 3 is teaching your dog what leash pressure means. Leash pressure work is really important when working with reactivity. We want to make sure your dog is super malleable and responsive as soon as they feel any leash pressure. This is really important that if your dog is in a sticky situation or if they are reactive, we can get them out of there quickly. So with this exercise, what we're going to do is teach her to turn off leash pressure. Basically the way we do that, if she's distracted, I'll apply a bit of line pressure back the other way. Yes, and as soon as she moves with me, I'm going to back off that line pressure and reward her. And I can basically just keep repeating that behavior. If you're finding she's too focused, you can create a distraction so we can throw a treat out there. I'll apply a bit of pressure back, yes, and then treat as soon as she moves with me. Just make sure that we do back off that line pressure as soon as she chooses to move with me. That's really important. Yes, good job. And we basically just keep rinsing and repeating this exercise over and over again. Yes, good. It shouldn't need a lot of pressure. We only need to apply it nice and gently and smoothly. You'll notice as well that when I apply that pressure, I use a bit of movement back the other way. Yes, instead of just pulling the leash. What we're trying to achieve here is that if she feels pressure on the leash, that she moves to the handler straight away. So if you think about this from a reactivity perspective, if we've got a dog reacting to another dog and I move the other way and apply pressure on the leash, we want her to feel that and go, whoa, I'm going to move straight with the handler straight away. So we practice that in an easy, low distraction environment. Yes, so that when we're in that situation where we've got reactivity, we get a response nice and quickly. Step 4, teach your dog the look at that exercise. With this exercise, we get the dog to engage with the trigger and then disengage with the trigger. The idea behind this is that we achieve a few things. One, we create some really positive associations where the dog learns that the presence of another dog brings on good things like food. The other thing that we're trying to create too is a really nice behavior where the dog engages with the other dog and then looks away. So it's incompatible with reactivity. We want to make sure that the training session starts straight away. So what I mean by that, first step is we need to get her to acknowledge that that dog exists, which she has there, and I want her to disengage. Yes. Distance is also your friend. We want to basically find a distance where she's, yes, a little bit challenged, but she's not over challenged. So all we're doing here is basically letting her look at the dog, and then as soon as she disengages from the dog, we mark and reward. Yes, if she starts to find it too easy, we bring it closer. So very, very simple. We let her have a look away, yes, and then treat. If she doesn't look away after 1 to 2 seconds, I'll then intervene myself. So we let her have a bit of a look. I'll come a bit closer because you can see now she's telling me that she's pretty comfortable. She's not really interested in the dog, which is a good thing. I walk away, yes, and then reward. So I let her look for about half a second, a second. If she doesn't disengage herself, I move backwards and create that little bit of leash pressure. Yes, good. So we let her look, pressure on, she looks away, we mark and reward. If she reacts at any time, what we can do is a trigger block. She's actually been very good. What we do here is a trigger block. Say she was looking at Sage and she's about to react, I would jump in front, I get her to set. I'm blocking the trigger. So I'm basically settling her down. Trigger doesn't exist at the moment until she's settled. Once she's settled is I open it back up again and I let her look at the trigger after that and we rinse and repeat. As she gets better, we get closer and closer. So we've started off, yes, at around sort of 30 meters. We're back down to probably 5 or 6 meters at the moment from Sage the Shepherd. Now we're going to bring out another dog. So what we do is we just keep repeating this until we basically build up a real large number of dogs that she's done this with until eventually she's she's completely desensitized to all dogs moving past. So my first step is getting her to look and acknowledge that dog exists. I'm challenging her a little bit more. I'm starting from sort of 10 or 20 meters, so she's actually doing very, very well today. Yes, good girl, good job. You're probably wondering why she hasn't reacted very much. And the reason for this is because I've been very careful of not challenging her too much, but just enough. If I go overboard, yeah, of course she's going to react. Yes, good job. But if you actually do this very smartly, you'll find your dog will probably do very similar to Maggie, where we get very, very close without a reaction. So don't be fooled by the fact you haven't seen much reactivity during this exercise. The reason being is because we've been very smart about it. And again, to reiterate, we basically let Maggie look at the dog. We give her 1 to 2 seconds to disengage herself. If she doesn't disengage, I help her out by applying some leash pressure and moving backwards. I then reward as soon as she disengages from the trigger. If she doesn't disengage, even with leash pressure, I'll jump in front and do a trigger block. Step 5, now we want to be walking past other dogs like on a normal walk. So what we're going to do here is practice these pass-bys as if you're walking past a dog normally. So you're going to be walking down the path, you'll spot a dog. Your first step is going to be to jump off to the side and start your lat training. So I'll give you an example. So we're walking along with Maggie and we spot a golden retriever up in the distance. You want to really quickly jump off to the side, get your distance where you know your dog's challenged but not too bad. Yes. Now once she looks at the golden retriever, I'm going to give her a second to disengage. And if she doesn't disengage herself, I'm going to apply a little bit of leash pressure and reward Maggie. She's done a brilliant job here. Yes, good girl. So again, we let her look at the dog. If she doesn't want to look at the dog too, even better. Yes, good girl, and reward. Then once we've passed the dog, we go back onto the path and we continue our walk. It's critically important that you keep practicing this. Even on a weekend, if you go to a busy park or something like that and just keep doing lat training every time a dog walks past, within a few weeks, you'll find that your dog won't be reactive at all. That's it for today. Please like and subscribe. Is your dog reactive? Please let us know in the comments.